Here we are in December already, and it looks a lovely day, but I can tell you it is very cold with a north wind. And so I'm going to get on and read to you from my book Robin on my teacup, and this is called The Wonderful Woodpecker. Ever felt that you're banging your head against a brick wall? Spare a thought for the woodpecker with his nose of steel, banging his head against a wall and cannot even feel. Ted Hughes wrote these words in his woodpecker poem. My sister's friend knew Ted Hughes when he was in the RAF in a village in Yorkshire where I was born. He even wrote some poems in her school book, which she kept for 50 years and recently realised they might be valuable. Was one of the poems his woodpecker poem? I don't remember seeing woodpeckers when I was young in Yorkshire, but here in Shropshire the great spotted woodpecker has been in a field called Ash Patch where there is woodland. It's here. All summer he swooped over the garden and clung to trees. If he saw me, he hid round the other side of the trunk and left only his toes visible, 2 pointing to the front and 2 pointing backwards. I saw him digging insects out of rough bark and catching them with his long, sticky tongue. I also heard him drumming. Apparently, woodpeckers tap 12,000 times a day. I wonder who counted them. They drum with such force that's equivalent to hitting a wall with your head at 20 miles an hour. They certainly need their strong skull separated from the beak by their shock-absorbing pads. Why isn't this intriguing great spotted woodpecker a favourite of ours? He looks so attractive with his sharp black and white stencil pattern, and the males have red markings on the nape and rump. I've often wondered why they're not on Christmas cards like the robin. One reason could be that they eat baby birds, and you might have seen and heard them hammering away trying to get into a blue-tit nest box to eat the young. Also, woodpeckers steal our hazelnuts. I've watched them take nuts from the hazel shrub with their chisel beaks. They wedge them in between forked branches and hammer the hard covering to get to the soft kernel inside. And all we have is a pile of shells at the base of the trunk. Another thing is, the great spotted woodpeckers don't have a song like the little robin whistle's trill. They only have a sharp alarm call if there's danger. Oh, and there's one last thing. Why is he called spotted when he's patchy and not spotted at all? You can see why trying to get the woodpecker picture on Christmas cards would be like banging your head against a brick wall. It would never succeed. It's hard to take them to our hearts, and we're not always glad to see them, but we are pleased when the friendly robin comes into our garden. My sister's friend was pleased too with her Ted Hughes poems, because once she made it known she had 2 of his handwritten pieces of poetry, she had offers to buy them. In the end, she sold them to a university in America. Was one of the newly found pieces of poetry the woodpecker poem? No, they were about love. But at least the famous Ted Hughes did write poetry about the woodpecker, and that's more than you can say for the robin.